Welcome everyone to episode 126.
Whoa, 126.
126
Jesus.
of the podcast. We're still here. We're still rocking. I'm, of course, Meelz. I'm here with JG Okoto himself.
Kame House. Still.
We still at the Kame House. Actually, we've been here probably for, it's like over a month now. What are we doing? What are we still doing here?
I mean, you know, still waiting for a new Dragon Ball Super movie.
Oh, this is true. This is very, very true. But look, we're not alone on this island.
We are not.
We have been, I want to hear his mode of transportation of how he got here.
I swam here like a walrus.
Very, very on character right now.
Can you imagine being in grade school and some kids are like, "You bitch, you laugh like a walrus." That's crazy.
If you haven't recognized by now, we have Pat, who's 1/3 of Mount Silver. Since we haven't recorded a Mount Silver in quite some time, definitely worth bringing Pat on and talking about this ODDTAXI anime, which I immediately, when I watched this, I was like, I think Pat would like this.
It's up his alley. Yeah.
I was right?
Oh, yes. I loved it.
Okay, all right. Nonetheless, we are here. I want to get into it, but we have a first few news bits, and I don't even like doing news bits that much on the Summer at Kame House because it's just kind of like we're like outside the vacuum of the normal world.
Yeah, it's a little strange, but still.
It's still, first of all, want to give a shout out to me.
There's nothing wrong with that, bro. Let that shit out, man.
I want to give a shout out to me. If you guys haven't seen it already, make sure you check out Crunchyroll. I have an interview with WWE superstar Ricochet that you can read on Crunchyroll. It was a blast getting it all together.
Amazing.
Yeah, truly, man.
It was fun. Fun talking anime with him. Of course, he's a big anime fan. He's been on the lookout before. So yeah, we just exchanged further thoughts on One Piece and My Hero and Dragon Ball and Naruto and a bunch of other things like that. So make sure you guys check that out on Crunchyroll. So
please do.
Absolutely. And then in not so good news, we unfortunately have to say, I know, Kazuki Takahashi, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, very, very tough to see that. It sucked. We just did the podcast with Cyrus like a week prior. So I was still on a little bit of a high from it, honestly. Like I had been kind of doing my own personal research on Yu-Gi-Oh! So it was sad, man, to see it.
My man was young, right?
He was, I think he was 60, which is like relatively, God. But
yeah, that sucks.
But he died while snorkeling, which I'm like, if there's a I guess that might be the way, to be honest with you. But listen, infected so many kids' lives, our lives, of course, we're from the era. Like we had it. Like what's everyone's all right, before we go into this thing, I know Jeff, we've talked about this many, many times before, so Pat, feel free to show this. As a kid, memories, just anything.
For me, I don't know. I think we're all around the same age. I think I'm the oldest by like a couple months or something. But by the time it was popular by the time it came to America, which I still think it's so funny that like Americans were too stupid to get the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! They just sent us the second one. But by that time, I was like one of the only people playing Pokemon still. And so like even fewer people were about to start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I had the cards, but I didn't really play it in any capacity. I really just had them to have them. But I did watch the show. What feels like a lot probably isn't very much. I watched through when the God cards were on the show. So
a lot of people probably got up to that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that stuff is pretty like within. Like everybody knows Exodia, even if they haven't seen the show. I feel like, and Blue Eyes White Dragon, Pegasus is classic, and The God cards, I feel like, are pretty known too.
Pat, I don't know if you've watched it recently, but if you rewatch the first season as an adult, you're probably going to laugh at how much bullshit happens during the show.
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense anymore. But
I remember thinking at the time, like, okay, so these how, like, even when Pegasus, Kaiba, like, very early on in the show, when he's like standing on the ledge and he's like, you can either win and kill me or lose. And it's like, wait, why do their moves affect the real world? Like, I thought it was like holograms or something. What the fuck is happening here? And so it's like weird, like being like that young and realizing like, oh, I have to accept something that's totally like, there's no way to wrap your head around this, but whatever, fuck it.
Yeah.
But we here.
Yeah. I was very jealous of. I'd totally forgotten about the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, which is so fucking cool.
Yeah, man. I know we posted some of our favorite cards from the Lookout team on Twitter past week, but I love Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, bro.
Yeah, it's so cool. And just like such a cool concept. Yeah.
Incredibly fun stuff. And if you hear stuff out my window, just know they're still doing construction.
It's New York.
Yeah, I'm lucky there's not any. There could be massive sounds from the wall 2 feet away from me at any point. So I've got the trigger finger on the mute button.
As do I, as always. So we have that kind of news to talk about. I think that's kind of it. At least everything that I want to talk about. Definitely, rest in peace to Kazuki Takahashi.
Absolutely.
You just, you affected our lives and just our childhood, and you still kind of made it overall a timeless series and a game.
It's still going.
So you're ready for that? Yeah, it's still going. Yu-Gi-Oh! IP still going. There's still new cards coming out. There's still new things.
New rules, new concepts, new formats. Yeah.
Follow a TikTok
also,
account.
just good business to be like, oh, I'll put cards in the game, so then you kind of care in the show, so then you just can do the show in real life, basically.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we didn't get the first season, Pat, because there was no cards.
Exactly.
They also required us to buy things, so.
Yeah, they were like, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure once Pokemon came out, it was like, if you're not selling us something that we can market, we're not.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, shout out Yu-Gi-Oh! Though. I one quick thing, I just feel like it was that getting to that step. Not that you had to stop playing Pokemon when Yu-Gi-Oh! Happened, but it was definitely like the next step in like just being a teenager type thing. Like I feel like you just had to check it out, even if you weren't like addicted to it, maybe like Pokemon. But I know most people who were like just into that era, they still knew what it was and maybe had cards, and even if they weren't battling, they were collecting. So yeah, huge part of our childhood.
Even if you were just, it obviously it wasn't on Toonami, but because it kind of was so much in the Pokemon vein that it was on WB or whatever it was, and that was kind of way more so than Digimon and probably anything for a long time. It was kind of like, for a lot of people, especially a lot of parents, Pokemon was their first exposure, not just to anime, but like Japanese like products and culture in general. And then Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like, oh, and this one's not as popular, but this shit is here to stay. Like, this isn't going away.
I'm sure parents were like, another fucking thing.
Yeah. Seriously.
Even funnier, like, that they would have to learn how to pronounce like Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff, because like Pokemon is at least like kind of a word.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like, just give me Yu-Gi yogurt. What am I buying?
I kind of compare it to like what my family, like my mom knows what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, and if I can still get her to kind of like speak on it, even though it's been years, I'm like, okay, yeah, it was definitely successful at that time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I want to get into Odd Taxi.
Let's do it, man.
What we're talking about today, the anime series, which has a very interesting kind of come up. I want to kind of get into the world a bit. All right, so now I fixed the audio that was like plaguing this thing, so I couldn't play audio for a long time on this podcast, but I managed to fix it. So I want to play a little bit of the audio for the show to kind of get a feel of the show, and then we kind of can talk about not just the audio, but just the overall feel of this show. But We talked about it last year. Was our best anime of 2021. We're doubling down by obviously doing the Summer Akame House about it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's listen into a little bit of Odd Taxi.
What happened to your car? Were you robbed?
Nothing like that. There wasn't anything taken from me.
You'd better get it fixed soon, or it'll get worse. It'll get worse.
I don't know what you're getting at.
Leaving something broken makes people break it further, especially windows.
The broken theory?
Yeah, the theory is hard to do.
What do you mean? So, what do you want?
You told me that I shouldn't get involved with you.
Yeah, I know. And the way you presume you might still be able to salvage the situation depending on what I do or say is obnoxious.
Hold on.
Honestly, I was I was really happy. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I was.
Let me explain.
Don't try to pull that on me. Because of you, Goriki has to...
Listen, I'll tell you everything, and I've no expectation of you telling me what you know. First off, it's true. Dobu and I used to date.
You're starting with something I didn't know at all.
About 4 years. Because of the money, I couldn't say no.
I won't listen if you're going to pry. Besides, it's none of my
business.
business.
Please just wait. I get it, okay? I borrowed a lot of money from Dobu. I was paying him back little by little, and I couldn't say no.
So you started stealing medications.
Imagine an alpaca talking to a walrus.
Because that's what that was.
Also, at some point, isn't he like... Doesn't he say to her, like, you're the only alpaca around here? And she just, like, doesn't say shit to him.
It's racist, bruh.
So funny.
Odd Taxi is I guess it's a comedy, it's a mystery,
It's a ride.
a drama, it's a ride for sure.
Yeah.
It's a crime thriller.
Yeah.
It's a story about, I guess, anthropomorphic, which I just learned is a word. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right, but I know I got the gist of it.
Anthros. One of the best anthros.
And one of the best anthros. Listen, compared to B-Stars.
Better than B-Stars and BNA.
Another anthro compared to Arthur.
All right. Let's not get disrespectful, man. You know what I'm saying?
Arthur canceled by the very nasty PBS.
Man.
And a couple
Okay,
other.
Here's some Arthur trivia for all you Mark Brown fans out there. I did actually watch a shitload of Arthur as a kid, especially because I had two younger sisters, one of whom is like almost, Jesus, she's like 8 years younger than me, I think, maybe more. So I saw a lot of Arthur, and so I did look into it by the end of when they did the finale, and they've replaced the Arthur voice actor consistently through the years because they've always wanted it to be an actual kid, which is pretty cool / unique. But Arthur as an adult, he's like some hilarious, like, he's like trying to get a graphic novel published or something. But if the 30-some-year-old Arthur was voiced by the original Arthur voice actor.
Wow.
In the finale. One? Yeah, the very first one.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice touch.
Listen, Arthur, I'll be honest with you. There's something about that show and just the very basic concepts that the show teaches that's still kind of reassuring and kind of nice. So if it comes up on YouTube, it's not like I turn away. Turn up on my YouTube, that's another question.
DW, funniest character ever.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so this series, I remember initially watching it and getting through it the first time and being a complete fan of it and telling everybody else to watch it. It reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons called 22 Short Films About Springfield, except this is way more stretched out. Parody of Pulp Fiction, of course. But like, it was the episode where, oh my God, fuck. Remember when Lisa got gum and peanut butter stuck in her hair and then had to get a haircut, and then it was like something else was happening with something. It was like 20 million things happening. And there's so much of this happening on this show that there's so much to kind of get into. So I want to ask you guys immediately, what was kind of your first reaction watching this show?
For me, it was really, and I don't know, this might be kind of out of left field, but it was pretty evocative of Paranoia Agent in a lot of ways. Uh, I think just in like the setting, and to some extent, you kind of are waiting for a couple big reveals throughout it, and 13 episodes instead of 26 or whatever. And then in the non-anime category, BoJack. Just due to like the animal populated world. But I think the other than just like the general like crime mystery, which is always going to be, or almost always going to be my favorite part of something. I did like the smaller, not necessarily smaller, but seemingly smaller elements of intrigue that the show had. I guess spoiler alert for the show, obviously.
Yeah.
But waiting on the reveal that ends up being an actual cat, which of course I loved that. But the animal thing and seems a little off, I think, even from the beginning. And there's like a few hints at it. One of them being that the comedy duo is called the Homo sapiens, but there are no humans in the world, so that's like kind of a just one of the flags.
Were you all right? So you saw those flags. Did you realize the flags all after the fact, or did you kind of
It was
like? Huh?
it was mostly, well, I noted like, oh, that's weird that they're called that because we haven't seen any actual humans, but I didn't put two and two. Like, I guess now if I had really been trying to figure out what's quote unquote what's going on, then maybe I would have guessed it. But I think then the biggest moment towards the end of the show is when he pegs him off the ID, and he's like, "How the fuck did you know that?" And it's like, "Oh, because he only sees certain people. This like he's literally looking at like silhouettes of people, to a certain extent, and nobody else looks like this guy." So,
Jeff, what was your first reactions in watching the show?
Let's see. You had basically got on me for about a week to really, maybe 2 weeks to like start it, and I forget what was out, but I was not watching that shit. And I remember, I don't know what happened, but I remember turning it on finally, and the first episode, like, honestly, I heard the theme first from you. You kind of set the tone, and I was like, okay, this shit is kind of cool. But honestly, I love that it's so urban, and the conversation is so like I just raved about like the dialogue and how good it is. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like the main thing for me was like, yes, it's obviously a bunch of animals talking and humanoid and driving cars and all this other shit, but the emotion behind them and like the actual topics are such real life things that in a weird way, like I was watching as if it wasn't an anime, and I was kind of like, shit, nigga, it was almost like I was watching fucking Grey's Anatomy for a second. Like it's just a lot of great dialogue that like really develops the story in a way that's like, not action based per se, or like no one's powering up and shit, the shit that we're used to. I just really, really love the context of the story and how it plays out.
Yeah, and so much of it that's borrowed from the actual like reality as well. You know what I'm saying? Based in 2021, they talk about Twitter. They talk about kind of
Yeah. You just get sucked in on it. And a lot
they
of it is
actually
like
do social media good. Like they do a good
they
job,
do.
and it's hard to do that.
They do.
Anime,
yeah.
or what, no matter what kind of show you're doing. I mean, shows and movies are like just now getting good at putting texting on screen.
Yeah, seriously, which is really, really weird. And because a lot of the times, you watch stuff in the past, it be small stuff. Like, I think even the way people answer phones in sitcoms are different now. Just like little stuff like
Yeah,
that. But the way that it's like produced on this show, it's like it's just a whirlwind of information. Not too much information, although there is a lot going on and a lot of characters, but it's all so relatable that you can take it in the first time, which is really dope for like an anime that doesn't have a manga.
And just on
Absolutely.
like a script level, it's really
man.
everything from the dialogue to the weave of everybody's stories to also maintaining like it's a mystery show at its heart.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was really impressed.
Like you said, well, as Jeff mentioned, without a true manga. I mean, it does have a manga, don't get me wrong. But
You know it.
actually the manga, yeah, it's still going on, but it's following pretty much the base of the show, and it's the show. So this is a Crunchyroll original series, originally released as a manga January 2021, released 4 months later as an anime, which I'm assuming that means the anime kind of the manga is pretty much a companion to the anime.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
it's usually the other way around. Um, so it's currently there's still volumes currently coming out, and I think they're probably like on episode 11 or 12 something at this point during the manga. But the entire series is done; it's wrapped up. It's interesting kind of way they decided to release this. I'm between this, I think Wonder Egg Priority we talked about kind of had a similar fashion of
Yeah.
it not having a base manga, and it's just kind of an anime that's kind of told as a story, which we haven't really seen much lately in terms of like popular series.
It's hard, man.
Or- yeah, does Parasite have a manga? Parasite
Yeah, yeah.
Mac?
Yeah, it
Oh,
does. It does.
okay. So I mean, just and you see, it's even more rare that we talk about these things like that. Want to give a highlight to the great theme song of the
Oh
show.
man. Out the park,
So,
bro.
yeah,
They got it.
it's nice. It's calm. I can listen to it. I have it on my phone.
Shit's
I
urban, bro. It's so urban, dude.
tried not to skip it during my first. I mean, at this point, I skip it now because I'm trying to get to the thing. I'm trying to analyze all the points in the story, but it's so good. It's so good. And that is probably Daimo coming after us and his brother. But yeah, no, it's a great theme song. Okay, so let me ask this before we get into the characters, because I think overall what I want to do with talking about the series is kind of go like character by character and kind of explore the arc of them. Not everyone, because there's like 25 characters in the show, but
yeah.
you get
The
a
main
full,
staff, yeah.
yeah, a major arc with. What was the hooking point of the series to you? Because for me, it wasn't the first episode,
It wasn't the first for me either, but
which is rare, which is super rare. Because usually, if it don't have a banging first episode, I kind of give it up. But I think the setting and the concept was intriguing enough for me to continue, and the dialogue as well. I mean, they're talking about like Bruce Springsteen the first episode.
yeah.
I almost texted my dad.
I don't remember what episode it was, but when the introduction to Tanaka happened, that was pretty much it for me. Like
That's episode 4. That's episode 4.
that
Probably.
was pretty much
Yeah.
it. Like at that point, the stakes had like rised so high, and I was like so locked in on what was happening on the episode that I was just so curious because it didn't really have any like there was no connection. Like the episode started with a brand new character, like new set of like information and nothing old. So I was it was almost like I was watching a whole new anime for a second, and I got drawn in with that scene.
The obsession over winning an eraser,
Yeah,
a very custom, one of a kind, is like, yo, we
bro was
went to this.
putting in so much work. I felt for him.
That's essentially what it was, right?
Man,
Like, and also using his dad's money to bet on
bro.
it and go against what's my man's what was the account's name? Fucking whatever. He put it ditch 11. I can't imagine.
Was it Ditch 11? It was. I can't remember exactly what it
No,
was.
it was ditch 11. It was ditch 11.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
What was the hooking point for you, Pat, in this series? Like the one that really got you?
I liked it really early on. I would say probably it might actually have been the Springsteen moment. But that has to be like in the second or third episode. So it was pretty clear right away that it was up my alley. Other than the fact that I'd already committed to watching all of it. it was it was nice that like right away it was like, oh, I really like this. So not not the first episode, I guess, but soon afterward.
Okay. Well, listen, I got so many points. Well, I was hooked in, and once it became about the mystery, and by the time I hit like episode 8, I was like, all right, I gotta finish this. And I was trying to finish it so much. And the fact that every single thing, no character is truly, I mean, there are kind of a few NPCs, but like every character is associated with something in some other way, which I really
great
liked.
world.
So it's just like I said, it's like a web, man, but it's so connected.
Yeah.
Let's get into the characters a bit. Let's talk about the characters. We can talk about the arcs. Don't worry about spoilers. Don't worry about talking about the end. I mean, we're gonna get to the end anyway. I kind of want to establish these characters and then maybe talk about like how the last 3 episodes wrap this thing up. We got to talk about, of course, Odokawa.
Odokawa's great.
Taxi driver.
Great protagonist, I guess.
Yeah. And just like character design, everything about it, great.
Yeah. Great sense of humor or lack thereof. Overall, I think it's weird how it's actually kind of jarring how he gets wrapped up in this entire thing, like this murder mystery. And he's really like, he's not trying to be, but he is. And then he kind of has to get involved because there's so many people that he enjoys and stuff like that that's getting caught up to him, like his best friend, Kakihana, who's very much still the team in this, like the Barney Rubble of this.
Yeah. One of my favorite, if not my favorite, one of my favorite characters for sure.
He gets a date with a girl by lying about how much money that he makes on a dating
classic
app.
Been there.
And then gets kidnapped and beat up, which we'll explore later on.
That hasn't happened to me.
But we'll explain why that happens.
Of course.
And probably other characters and stuff like that. But his world gets kind of like he's just living his life with, I guess, the disorder that he is, which is at the beginning of the series kind of like undiagnosed fully. But as we peel through these episodes, and he has this Dr. Kuraki, who's his doctor, continues to peel the things, and you kind of see like, oh, this is eventually, I mean, it's a great reveal at the end.
It is.
Of essentially he has this disorder called, I'm looking it up right now. What was it called? Why didn't I write it down?
They describe it as synesthesia at first, which is hilarious.
There you go.
Yeah, because it's not synesthesia, but he has like a photographic memory.
He has a memory where because of his trauma in his life, he now sees people as animals throughout the entire show. And it's not until the end where you kind of realize it's like, wow, we're seeing this essentially, I guess it's through his eyes, but they're telling the story nonetheless. As animals, we're kind of seeing it via his, I guess, condition.
Visual agnosia?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Visual agnosia. Interesting. I wonder if that's like can happen with not animals. Like if I just see people as various flavors of M&Ms,
that would be crazy, bro.
Like I had a traumatic Christmas ordeal where all I remember was the M&Ms commercials, and now I see people
yes,
growing up as a kid. That would be crazy. Or Power Rangers or something along those lines. That's a very interesting, it's an interesting concept to kind of run with through the entire show. But he's a crux of the show. Great dialogue.
Yeah.
Just kind of amazing.
Sets the tone, seriously.
Sets the tone. We also introduced at the end of episode 1. I watched this premiere. They premiered the dub at Anime NYC late last year. And I guess the part that got the funniest reaction was the reveal of Dobu at the end of episode 1, where he's just kind of like looking at him in the rear view. He's just like looking at him, like staring at him.
That's a great shot.
It's just
that.
like
Real criminal hours.
Dobu's got a great design, man.
Hey, man,
True.
you know, you can't be
Baboon.
mad at a baboon, bro. They're
Like,
some of the most like infamous like primates, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're assholes. So this is perfect.
he's got
Great
gold.
outfit too.
Oh man, big chain, smoking,
He's dope. Like,
strapped up.
a true criminal to the end of the day. And you see that. Well, what's the reason he's doing criminal activities? I don't know. Maybe he's just
Bro had he got gold caps on the
That's what I'm saying.
fangs, bro. Come
Listen.
on, man.
He had a gun in Japan too. That's hard to get.
Yeah,
Usually,
bro. Imagine.
the guy who blew Shinzo away. He had to build the Borderlands gun at home.
what's Dobu's?
Oh my god, bro.
This is probably the most memorable moment with Dobu in this series. Got to be the plan. This isn't even my favorite story. He doesn't have my favorite storyline in the show. I mean, it's pretty much very basic, but it's like wrapped into another storyline because he works with another. He used to work with, I guess, Yano, and now they're like rival gangsters trying to make money and shit like that. Other stuff like that. He's trying to get the camera.
When they coordinated the plan, to me, I think it was pretty cool to see like the main protagonist and at that moment the main antagonist kind of like team up together to just handle something that seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let's see. So also introduced in episode 1 is Taichi Kabasawa.
How can we not show love, man?
he wants to become the next viral thing, and it pretty much is like, I will catch Dobu, I will do this, and his entire life changes throughout the show. Of like, now he's sleeping with women, now he's got money, now he's truly gotten what he wants, and realizes that it's probably not. Once he comes face to face with the thing that he was trying to, and isn't it like a parody of like real life? It's like people online acting this certain way, and then you see them face to face, and they're just like sniveling, losers.
Yeah.
And eventually he does come face to face with Dobu, who he's been like talking about online about how he's a revolution, he's going to capture Dobu, and he's going to be the one to slay him and all this other stuff. And then he comes to thing with Dobu. He's like, please don't kill me. Like, take my house, take my car, take my everything. I just don't want to.
Dobu's been shot and he still beats the shit out of him.
Oh man.
We'll get to that. Also introduced in episode 1, the Homo sapiens.
The Homo sapiens.
An interesting arc of a duo comedy act that never really experiences any kind of success.
They aren't funny.
They aren't funny at all.
Bread though.
They don't even seem like they have a great relationship with one another. Like, it seems, first of all, they were, Shibagaki, who is the boar, and Baba, who is the horse. Clearly, Baba is the more successful one. He has his own thing. He's a celebrity on his own. He's 30. Let me look if they're the same age. They are the same age, but just like Shibagaki is just very like, I don't know. He's just always clashing with him, and he's always, kind of like, I think he's not even confident in his own comedic abilities.
Yeah, you can say that.
And it comes off, he tries to like, he always trying to clash with Baba. He's like, oh, and he works at the cabaret as just a normal worker, and Baba is an actual celebrity and stuff like that. So it's an interesting dichotomy, and they never really actually gain any part of success. They lose. They reach the second round in a comedy tournament initially, and then they reapply again this year and then lose and don't even win the losers round either, and like threaten to breaking up and all this other stuff like that. It's an interesting, thing for the Homo sapiens.
Would you rather want to be a horse or a boar? I don't want niggas riding me, bro.
But a horse,
I gotta go boar, man.
A boar though?
Bore me.
Do you know what boars eat?
Shit. Probably. I don't
Hey,
know.
let's not pretend horses are doing fine dining.
Yeah. Thanks, Pat. Seriously, I don't want to be ridden all the time.
I mean, if you're strong enough, why not? I mean, I guess so. I mean,
Bore me, man.
bore me. Okay, we here. Let's talk about Shirakawa, who is the alpaca.
Oh
All right,
god.
how do I pronounce this again?
Alpaca.
Alpaca.
Alpaca. An alpaca. A very interesting animal choice. Not a
Sure.
very.
She's got her own scarf, bro. Her design is fire, though. I'm not gonna even like act like
It's
it's
great
not.
because I can't. To be honest with you, it's like as an
She's a
alpaca,
babe.
Yeah, it's
I've
really
never
cool.
I've never looked at one in this way before. Nonetheless, she's stealing drugs.
I mean, she needs
Correct.
to be.
She's stealing perks for her ex to sell because she owes him money or something along those lines. And they used to be together. And now he feels like she owes him. So she works at Dr. Garaki's clinic and is stealing drugs from him and forces Dr. Garaki to close down his clinic.
Crazy.
Yeah, I feel like he could have kept it open, but I don't
Probably. I don't think there was that much at stake, bro.
I don't know. If he can't give these people these drugs, I guess he can't really stay open. If he can't, he's just going to have people who are just like, no drugs and stuff like that. But an incredibly interesting, love interest.
She knows martial arts, bro.
She knows
She beat the shit out of what's his name
of the Mystery Kiss guy.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to Mystery Kiss because they're coming up next, and that's my favorite storyline, to be honest with you. But she knows capoeira, learned it as a hobby, uses it in some fashion to kick some ass as well. Even though, which is ironic since Odokawa pretty much dismisses it the first time they talk about it is like capoeira, like
fuck, that's Brazilian, bro.
Yeah,
in Brazil.
It's one of the most weird things that you can ever pick up.
Somebody went to a Krav Maga class in this, they said. God
Did
damn.
they?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy too? Alpacas, they're from South America. So I thought it was hilarious that like she knows a Brazilian martial art.
Oh yeah, good. That is funny.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's good shit. Let's see. All right. We have also introduced, I believe in episode 1 or episode 2, Imai, who is this big fan of Mystery Kiss. He looks like Fry from Futurama, kind of.
A little bit. I like that. I like that comparison.
When I associated, I was like, oh, he kind of looks like Fry. I hope that Phil Hartman does his voice, and he didn't do his voice, but just somehow also gets involved in this, but manages to stay a character throughout the show through his love of Mystery Kiss. And it's his love of Mystery Kiss. I don't know. I'm just going to talk about the Mystery Kiss storyline, but
I know you're waiting for it.
He gets some numbers, some offhand numbers from Odokawa. Who's just like, what are his favorite numbers? And Odokawa just like looks down at something. It's like, it's these numbers. And he wins the lotto. And it's because he wins the lotto. He's also tracked down by the same people who beat up Kakihana. And that ends up the final storyline of the show.
These guys have a vice grip on this part of town.
Yeah, seriously. But the fact that he won the lotto and just wanted to use it to like follow them in tour was like, bro, what are you doing, bro?
Figure it out, man.
Like, you're out of control, dude.
You know what? He's a good guy because he was like, I work at a cabaret.
Meelz. He's a crazy guy.
Here's the thing. He worked at a cabaret and offered Odokawa, he's like, listen, everything is on the house. Anything. The women, the drinks.
Bro said the women are on the house.
Anything that you want in this cabaret. And, Odokawa's not that kind of guy. Fair enough. Let's talk about Mystery Kiss. I've been waiting to talk about Mystery Kiss.
This song, man, it's great.
This is my favorite part of the show that didn't become my favorite part of the show until I watched probably this run through of how deep this shit actually goes and how wild this is and how this could have been any other girl group. No, this is probably the extreme, but
They could probably really sell some records though if Japan decided to put it together.
well, they weren't selling records. They had they trained for a year and a half to have their first big concert, and only fucking Imai and 3 other people showed up. You know what I'm saying? And that led, I guess it led everyone to a life of crime, to be honest with you. Mystery Kiss is introduced in the show as an idol group, which are big in Japan. They are managed by Yamamoto. It's not until about episode 10 or episode 11 we see the backstory of the show, of why the girls were in masks, why Nikaido is the leader of the group and is experiencing all this pressure and stuff like that, why the missing girl, who this entire show, I guess the entire kind of storyline is the crux of this missing girl who showed up in Odokawa's taxi, and now people are trying to figure out where she is, from the crooked cops to the Mystery Kiss owners to the thugs to everything of the rather. It shows in episode 10 that they were just a standard girl group.
Yeah.
They had the members Rui Nikaido, Shio Ichimura, and Yuki Mitsuo. And Nikaido wanted to be the lead, but Mitsuya was eating her food every time. Dancer. She's like, she went through dance, sports, ballet, everything. She had all the makings to be a star. And
like
then when
Destiny Child's villain origin.
Listen, it's they got in front of the record label. It's so funny. I thought that scene was so funny. Record label's like, we want her to be the lead.
Owned.
Game over.
They were looking at her. Of course, they were like, "Oh, okay. Nikaido is the prettiest one. She's of course going to be the lead. I'm going to be the backup dancer." I was like, "No, that bitch has skills to pay the bills. She is the lead," which led to a lot of resentment and a lot of like, you know, I guess anger, deep-seated anger with Nikaido, who then texted Mitsuya and was like, "Meet me at the headquarters. We have to talk." And I'm like, "What? What? That's not a red flag to you, girl?"
I'm saying, bro.
They meet her at the headquarters. Mitsuya is already dead, even though Nikaido had already planned to kill her, which is wild to me. Like, just because you're not the leader, just find another girl group, like something.
You know,
like,
they're out there. There's more cats. There's cats more than anything, bro.
Well, she's a dog. She doesn't want no damn cat. I think she's a dog, is she? Nikaido. What animal? She's a poodle.
She's a poodle?
She's a poodle. A toy poodle, though. That's what they say on the ODDTAXI fandom page. She's a poodle. Nonetheless, she ain't standing no background for no fucking cat. Close Elijah's ears.
It's okay. I have headphones on. I don't even know if he's in the room.
She finds out that she's dead, and because of that, Yamamoto, who to me this would have been suspicious because he shows up randomly out of the blue, like isn't even on the text thread or anything.
He already looks sus.
He looks super sus nonetheless.
He's a fox, bro. I mean,
he did the he is a red fox. He did the most there's only 2 ways you could go about this: tell the truth or call the mob people that you know to dump the body.
Which one you think he's choosing?
They took the 18-year-old girl out of the thing and dumped the body for
vicious move.
Half the earnings of Mystery Kiss as a group. He was like, I own half of the earnings of this group.
I gotta say, the way the plastic wrapped body with the cinder blocks tied around it was drawn was amazing.
Somebody really killed somebody and did it just that way.
Yeah.
And
beautiful.
And I looked at the sea and I couldn't believe it and stuff like that. And they had blood all over their thing. He's like wearing a different suit, you know what I'm saying? Like a bloody like hazmat suit. They really killed her. And not only she dead beforehand, but they made sure that the body, I'm assuming, was unrecognizable, even though I guess they kind of found the body. dumped her in the water. It becomes the crux of the show of this missing girl. They replace her with another with another suspicious looking girl who is, I think she's Sakura.
Bro, this is what happened to Avril Lavigne.
That's what. All right,
man. Let's not go down that rabbit hole right here, guys. I've been there. I've been on YouTube for hours.
I do not actually think this. It was also a big rumor with Paul McCartney for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, not surprised. Not surprised at all. Why would he collaborate with Kanye in 2015?
Yeah, come on, bro. Makes no sense.
But
song's bad, bro.
Nonetheless, they replaced her with a completely new girl. Looks similar. Also a black cat. Kind of racist. She's not as good. She's like slipping and falling during rehearsals and stuff like that.
Man.
It's not looking good. It's not. They don't have the same energy as the OG of Mystery Kiss.
Yeah, they went from like Destiny's Child to like 3LW real quick.
Ooh, that's tough. I like that. No one is word of the wise until it comes out, and now they have to tell their story to the police of like what happens, and now they have to get a story together. The family has to submit a missing body report, and then they have to reclaim it. The mob people have to kind of like figure out how to get everything over, and it didn't hit until later on about how all the things, especially with the taxi driver, everything was kind of in order beforehand. The first trips, becoming him wanting Odokawa to kind of become the exclusive taxi driver for Mystery Kiss, and all this other stuff is like it was coming together. I was like, wow, they had this done since the beginning. Like they really just want to kill this guy, and like even to Yamamoto, they drive to like this I guess I don't know if it's a dump or just a construction site, and he chokes him with his belt and tries to kill him. And that's where, of course, Shirakawa comes in with a capoeira and kicks ass and stuff like that and saves Odokawa's
Insane
life.
moment when he's getting choked out. Really violent.
I was like,
shit was like literally breathtaking. I was on the edge of my seat, bro.
Don't do that. But then they get him on that side, and I guess the mystery of Mystery Kiss. Apparently, first of all, Yuki Mitsua's dad is also a baboon, or some other, like a mob boss baboon who's tied with the mob boss that's at the beginning of the show in episode 2, who is I gotta find out what animal this guy is. The one with the tattoos.
Isn't he a taper?
He is a taper. He's a taper. With sick tattoos, Hawaiian ass tattoos.
Yeah, they were great.
And we move over to the final moment of the show where Dobu is trying to. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens.
We're not gonna talk about Yano rapping like Silk the Shocker, bro.
Okay, I thought
before we get up out of here,
annoying. It was so annoying.
Come on, guys, we can't end this show without talking about that.
It was probably my least favorite part of the show, I'll say.
Okay, let me say this. The sub and the dub are like they're both phenomenal, by the way. This is one of those things I actually do prefer the dub. But the rap when you're first introduced to him and the rap in Japanese is so like it really was annoying because it was like 5 to 6 minutes of like conversation of him just like flowing, but in conversation, obviously.
Amazing.
Mystery Kiss is used in random sets of ways. I mean, Nikaido is forced to keep the secret. They have poor Ichimura go on the date with Kakihana because he has the money, and then he's kidnapped. Essentially, they're using Mystery Kiss to kidnap people who have money so they could steal them from them. And I was like, how did this idol
I don't know,
syndicate? Just as, like, how did they get tied up with the mob? And I'm wondering what other girl groups are tied up with the mob. But it leads to kind of the end, the big kind
There's
of.
a lot of stuff we can't say about K-pop right now.
Right.
Oh, man.
This is very, very true. Tanaka, of course, the story of Tanaka in episode 4 and the app. everything that happened in that episode leading up to essentially him having this major beef with Odokawa, trying to shoot him at every turn. It's insane. um, any favorite moments as we get to the end, any personal favorite moments that stood out during
My personal favorite moment is like the climax of like his condition and realizing that, because I really did not even consider, you know, that.
this was just a show about animals that are
Yeah, bro. Like I was
Yeah.
very content with that, you know, and I think that like flip is really. I looked at the show. I was like, man, this shit really is a masterpiece, because it was the last thing I was thinking about. I was already invested in the fact that, yeah, this is just, you know, an anime about animals doing very human things.
Oh, interesting. They have on the main page for ODDTAXI, they have the relationship chart, which is like a bunch of fucking lines going in every friggin' direction, to be honest.
Oh, that's amazing.
Goraki and Shirakawa essentially being things, and she's friends with Odokawa, but she's also, Goraki's a patron to Taiko, who owns that shop. Also a patron to Kakiyana, who is the best friend of Odokawa, who is dating Ichimura, who is in the relationship with Mystery Kiss, who is a big fan from Imai, who is also worships Odokawa. And then they have Elder Daimon and Younger Daimon, who are in business with Dobu, who is, also the crooked cop who tries to get the money from Yano and Sekiguchi. Great designs despite annoying. Yano,
he's a porcupine, right?
Porcupine, and I forget what Sekiguchi is. He looks like is he a panda who just we don't? No, he's not a panda. Hold on, he isn't. Sure. He's just like a bear, kind of, or something. I don't know. I can look it up. Hold on. Sekiguchi, Toga Sekiguchi. He is a polar bear.
He's a polar bear. Oh, yeah. I see that.
He's a polar bear who's wearing a complete like sweatsuit.
They mentioned the tracksuit so many times.
It's a great tracksuit.
Every time someone's talking about him, it's great. It's just so funny that they talk about him he's a guy wearing a tracksuit.
No polar bear needs a tracksuit, silly. I should have known they were human at that moment. What was I thinking? Seriously, like it's all there for us to like kind of like depict, are they really animals? But not once did I think about it.
Towards the end of the show, the police officers we learn that are crooked, and the Younger Daimon eventually has to apprehend his older brother, who gets his ass kicked for trying to steal money from the mob. The mob runs this fucking show. Shibigaki and Baba lose the losers bracket, and they want to break up, but then eventually they don't break up. Tanaka, who eventually finds the account that's been stealing money from him. Well, not stealing money from him, but I guess like outbidded him and ruined his life entirely. And also was the account on the game that surpassed him and lose this thing entirely. Finds him, he shoots Dobu, and Odokawa's like, well, you're a criminal, so you get what you deserve.
Epic moment.
It's great. But his life is reformed. He isn't arrested, by the way. A man shoots an entire person. And
okay.
Not apprehended, not anything. He deserved it. That was, I guess, the end of his arc. Was let's see. How
about just the moment when the taxi actually goes into the river? Amazing filmmaking. The whole sequence is so good.
They start the episode finally after 13 episodes, after Goraki trying to get the backstory behind his family. We find it that he was able to access Odokawa's journal, which details events from Odokawa's past. He wrote that he wanted to work at a zoo when he grew up because his anxieties around people made him relate to animals more. And then his dad would drop him off at the zoo to go cheat on his mom, which is wild. And that's how you got his affinity with the zoo. He was ruthlessly bullied at school, even by the administration, abused by his mother, who took out her frustrations with his absent father on him. The car chase eventually, of course, leads to the car going in the air, very ET kind of fashion, going into the water. He kind of realizing kind of everything kind of coming back to him. And then also Shirakawa diving into the water because she's amazing just in general. How does she open a door flooded with water? That makes no sense to me.
I'll buy it.
I mean, I've only seen like fucking superheroes do shit like that, but
She has the strength of 10 alpacas. You know what I'm saying? She has.
It's true.
Because I can't imagine being able to do that myself. And she saves Odokawa. And once Odokawa comes back to life, he sees everyone in their human forms who are way uglier than they are as animals.
Yeah, they all. Oh my god, it's insane.
I was like, oh, ew, that's what Dobu looks like. That's what, I was like, ugh, that's what.
Go back to being a.
Yeah,
an ape.
they look too much like animals.
I mean, Odokawa, I guess he looks, standard, but even the gorilla just being a giant bearded guy, no mustache, I was like, oh, this is nasty. You know what I'm saying? Everyone looks so ugly in this show. And then we find out that the mystery kiss girl who replaced Yuki Mitsuo was the one who killed Yuki Mitsuo in the first place, which gave me very like Maggie shot Mr. Burns vibes.
Yeah.
In terms of like, okay, that's how we're going to wrap this up. You know what? I'll buy it. Sure. She was the fourth runner-up. She did want to be in the group a lot. I guess it would make sense that she would be the one to kill Yuki Mitsuo, but she could have easily very well also killed like Rui or anybody else. But I guess, people would not notice if she killed Yuki Mitsuo as well. And that's how the show kind of ends. It's a very worthwhile adventure. This shit is
it's great. It's really great.
It's basically perfect. It just wraps things up in 13 episodes, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I watched this probably like 3 or 4 times, to be honest with you. I might not watch it again relatively soon because I've watched it a lot over the last year. But it's a great series, and I implore everybody who loves Odd Taxi and who wants to take a break from regular shit to watch this one. It's on Crunchyroll. And to be honest, other places where you're not supposed to watch anime.
Hey, I didn't have to do anything to watch this for free on Crunchyroll. I literally typed in Odd Taxi Crunchyroll and went to the page, and that was it.
There you go. So make sure you handle it that way. That was Odd Taxi.
Wow.
Let's see what else. Well, first of all, thank you, Pat, for joining us on this adventure.
Of course.
Promorphic.
I really, really did love the show.
It is a really great series. Seriously.
I love that you love this. We have so much other. I didn't. We still.
You want me to leak Pokemon? I will.
You want me to what?
I said, do you want me to leak Pokemon information? I will.
No, not right now. Wait. We're gonna get there. Hold on. So we talked about Odd Taxi. That was my pick. Next time we go on Summer Kame House, we're doing season 1 of Mob Psycho 100.
Oh, we're there? Good.
Yeah, we're there. Mob Psycho 100 is coming back later this year.
Yes.
In October. So we're going over season 1 of Mob Psycho 100. I love that show. Pat, have you watched Mob Psycho 100?
I have not. I recognize I just Googled it though, and I recognize it.
You would also love this one as well.
It's on HBO too, so maybe I'll watch this.
It is.
Yeah, it's on HBO. You would love this one as well. It's about Espers who have powers, but also it's incredibly funny and kind of like very originally drawn. That is also charming and just it's a cool show. It doesn't do too much. It doesn't do too little. It's a great show.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoy it. So we'll be talking about that. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna cut this off here. Thank you guys for listening, to Lookout, stuff like that. We're going to try to see if we can get in another 15 minutes on Pokemon stuff and try to cram in everything Pokemon since we have Mount Silver right here. We're going to try to cram another 15 to 20 minutes on Pokemon. So we're gonna cut the thing off right here. We'll have a bonus episode. It'll be 15 to 20 minutes long. So you're gonna get all the information in Crux, but it's this episode. Animals, Pokemon, you get it.
Might as well.
So thank you guys for listening. Make sure you follow the Lookout at the Lookout RNC on Twitter. Make sure you follow us on all types of podcasts. Make sure you listen to the Big Eyes podcast that is dropping this week, and also Subsly Dubsly, which may have a special guest, which may or may not be me. So make sure you tune into the episode this week, and we will see you guys next time. Take care.